Come on, hurry up, you guys!
My life! Oh, my life!
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. Today is one of the worst days that I've... No. Wait. Wait.
It's about to get...
Just when you thought things couldn't get worse, Star Wars The Acolyte, the worst show ever released by Disney, has reached a new record, being the worst Star Wars project to date. Now, you can take what I have to say with a grain of salt, but it seems like I'm not the only one who agrees. Just a day or two ago, Forbes released an article claiming that The Acolyte Episode 3 is one of the most disappointing Star Wars episodes ever made. And to be completely honest, is this really that big of a surprise to anyone? Fans have known the show was going to be trash from the beginning, and we're all starting to find out just how bad things have gotten. Seems to me like Star Wars has continued to get worse every year, but somehow Disney has managed to change that, with it now getting worse every month. But again, this is no surprise to Star Wars fans, as there has been backlash for the show before it even came out. The trailer sitting at about 800,000 dislikes at the time of this video, which is absolutely insane. Rewind 10 years ago, and if I told you just a pinch of what Disney Star Wars was like today, you would probably call me a liar. Star Wars has fallen off the pedestal George Lucas put it on after Kathleen Kennedy and her goons knocked it over. You've probably seen a lot of backlash for this episode already, but just how bad was episode 3? Well, let's just say that fans did not appreciate it, to say the least. This episode itself is riddled with plot holes, cringy and clunky dialogue, bad acting, and a room full of writers who seem to give zero fucks about the franchise. To pretty much sum up the episode, there's a coven of witches that raise May and Osha. We find out that these witches refer to the Force as the thread, claiming that they could tug on the thread to manipulate it to their will. We find out that May and Osha were actually created by this method, as the leader/mother witch says that she created the twins. I can't even begin to tell you how stupid all of this sounds so far. These writers have no idea how the Force works. You're telling me that the Jedi, the Sith like Palpatine, Plagueis, the Night Sisters, Mother Townsend, couldn't find a way to create a Force-sensitive soldier, let alone a child, but these random-ass witches were capable of creating two perfect Force users without any trouble? That's so fucking stupid. It's just so dumb. It's not Star Wars. That's not how the Force works. We've seen how the Force works. We know how the Force works. It's claimed by Yoda or, George Lucas himself. And he even said in a recent interview that, they've lost what the idea of the Force is. And we see that.
Sort of got lost. But that's the way it is. The Force, nobody understood the Force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas were in there.
Anyways, we learn that Osha has no interest in the ceremony, as she dreams to explore the galaxy and to become a Jedi. The rest of the episode just kind of writes itself, unfortunately. As the Jedi come, the witches are like, "The fuck you doing here?" They kind of cook the fuck out of the Jedi. The Jedi ask to take the girls, they say no. Osha wants to go with the Jedi, but May doesn't. May starts a fire that burns down a brick temple for some reason. I don't really know how that works, but they all die within seconds after we see that scene. Osha goes off with the Jedi in the end. Holy shit, this episode was so lame. There's so many plot holes in this show. First of all, how did she burn down wherever they were living? It's all stone. And then it clips to all of them dead on the floor. There's no explanation to how they died. There's no burn marks. There's no nothing. And obviously it's a Disney show. They're not going to show the deaths, but come on. Come on, Disney. You can't just clip to that and expect fans to expect that, that's how they died. That's complete bullshit. There's a lot to kind of dig into and complain about. Trust me, there's a ton of little things that just come together and don't make any sense at all, but there are plenty of other YouTube videos out there that do just that, so definitely go check those out. But ultimately, this is a very broad and vague description of what happened, but the point is, just proves that the show ultimately lacks any type of logic whatsoever. The people who made the show to begin with have proven to fans that there is absolutely zero effort to maintain and follow the story George Lucas has put into place for them, as they feel more entitled to inject political narratives into Star Wars rather than creating a solid story for fans to love.
This is arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. This is going to be a talking point.
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure some.
Because nerds are gay.
Well,
Yeah.
some nerds are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Yeah.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly
You're offended?
into it. No. You're telling me with a straight face that C-3PO is straight.
They're a couple. That's what I think.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Ask Filoni.
Ask for
Can you imagine?
This clip just proves that they're extremely out of touch and that making up narratives is the only way for them to deflect any type of criticism from the fans. But it will never be enough as fans are tired of just how shit Star Wars has gotten. And we see it all in the analytics, with The Acolyte having 20% less views than Ahsoka's first 5 days. Ahsoka brought in nearly 14 million views in his first 5 days, as The Acolyte's first 5 days were a staggering 11.1 million views. This by itself shows that The Acolyte is now the lowest watched show in Lucasfilm's history. What makes this even funnier is that the budget for Ahsoka was around $100 million, whereas The Acolyte's is almost double that, at $180 million in total. And the thing is, we can look at the data all we want, but it doesn't take a genius to see that Star Wars just isn't the same as it was before. Disney has allowed its writers to infiltrate Lucasfilm and inject Star Wars with political nonsense that just doesn't belong there in the first place. There have been countless flops for Lucasfilm and Disney over the last 3 years, but it seems like it just keeps getting worse for them. And good, I'm glad fans are finally showing their distaste for the slop they're cranking out, because these companies need to learn that politics do not belong in franchises that center around one thing: escapism. Escapism doesn't exist if we continue to fill these franchises with political bullshit like gender and racial ideologies. The whole point of escapism is that we as fans are able to watch something and be completely taken out of the world we already live in, being able to connect with the characters we know and love. And that's what made Star Wars so good to begin with. It was a simple story of good versus evil, a story about a tragedy of a hero, the downfall of a man, the power of love and family, and yet Disney just fails to understand this. If you want to make a good Star Wars film, you have to incorporate those aspects. Star Wars is more than just space wizards and laser swords. It's a story of finding yourself in a world that seems too big for anyone. A story about the importance of hope and how we should teach our kids about hope, just like Dave Filoni said in that one interview a couple years ago. It seems to me like every franchise we love is being taken over, and it's like a zombie apocalypse, leaving just a hollow corpse walking around, pretending to be the thing it was before. Personally, I don't see Lucasfilm changing anytime soon, so I think it's safe to say that Lucasfilm needs a complete reset. They need to clean house and let everyone there go, and hire people who actually want to make Star Wars great, not their political views. But who knows, maybe it'll get better in the future, a future that could be within a year or 30, who fucking knows, but regardless of how long it takes, I'll go ahead and leave you with just a small tidbit of what makes Star Wars great. But that's pretty much it for me. See ya.
Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? And where you should not. For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it. Makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us. And binds us. Luminous beings are we.